Welcome to part 2 of expressions, equations, and inequalities, where we left on starting inequalities. So let's get started. So our inequalities here, it says solve these inequalities. So remember, we're going to treat it like an equal sign. Just like our two-step equations, we're going to solve it the same way. We're just going to keep this sign pointed the same way until all the way at the end and see if we need to flip it or not. So in order to get 12x by itself, I need to get rid of this 30. So what's the opposite of a positive 30? A negative 30. So I'm going to subtract 30 from both sides. These 30s on the left are going to cancel. I'm going to bring down my 12x. I'm also going to bring down my greater than sign, exactly as is. And if I only have $6 in my bank account and I tried to withdraw $30, I'd be poor, but I would owe the bank negative $24. That stinks. So I need to know basically what times 12 will give me negative 24. So what I need to do is, again, divide by 12 to both sides in order to get x by itself. Those cancel. I'm going to be left with x is greater than. A negative divided by a positive is going to be a negative. So 24 divided by 12 is negative 2. So there's my final little equation there. X has to be greater than negative 2 in order for it to be true. So looking at this one over here, in order to get negative 4x by itself, I need to add 2 to both sides. Because the opposite of a negative 2 is a positive 2. I'm going to bring down my negative 4x. I'm also going to bring down my less than or equal to sign. And 6 plus 2 is 8. So now I need to do just like I did with the other one. I need to divide everything by a negative 4. You need to divide both sides by negative 4 because that's what's attached to x. Now what happens when you divide an inequality by a negative number? What's going to happen is the sign is going to flip the other direction. So now I have greater than or equal to. Negative divided by a positive is a negative. 8 divided by 4 is negative 2. So the only time you are going to flip, so only, or the only time you will flip the inequality is when you are dividing by a negative number. So you could, I know what you're thinking. You're like, well, I divided negative 24 by 12. Well, that 12 was not negative. That's why we didn't flip it here, but we flipped it over here. If I'm dividing by whatever is attached to my x and it's negative, you're going to flip it. So let's try 2 more here. I want you to actually pause the video, and I want you to try at least the one on the left. So the 65 minus 11x is less than 1. So go ahead, pause the video, take your time. Hi, welcome back. Well, now we're going to solve it and see if you're right. I'm pretty sure you are because you're super duper amazing and you know your stuff. So this is a positive 65. The opposite of a positive 65 is a negative 65. Because remember, I need to solve for x. That's what I'm looking for in any of these problems. So I'm going to cancel both of these out. What I'm left with is a negative 11x is less than 1 minus 65, which is going to be what? 64. Negative 64. Oh my gosh. So now what's going to happen is I'm going to divide by a negative 11 to both sides. These will cancel. And since I divided by a negative, guess what's going to happen to the inequality sign? It's going to flip the other way. Now it's going to be greater than. Negative divided by negative is a positive. So I can't take 64 and plug 11 into it. So I'm going to leave it as is. And there's my final answer. So for this one right here, feel free to pause at any time if you want to try solving it yourself. But the opposite of a -5, because I want 7x by itself, is a +5. So I'm going to add 5 to both sides. Now the real question is, 5 minus 5 is a 0. And I'm going to bring down my 7x. I'm also going to bring down my greater than or equal to sign, as is. You don't have to make it that aggressive in drawing it, but whatever, floats your boat. And 37 plus 5 is actually going to give me a 42. Am I done? Absolutely not. There's still a 7 attached to this x. So guess what? To get rid of it, you gotta divide both sides by 7. These cancel. I'm left with x is greater than or equal to a 6. Because 42 divided by 7 is 6. Hopefully that helps clarify anything that you guys have been dealing with. And I want to know how you're feeling. Are you feeling super great? Are you feeling kind of okay? Or you're like, oh my gosh, I still don't know what I'm doing. Okay, first thing you need to do if you're in this step is first, you're awesome. I believe in you. You can do it. Just keep pushing yourself, use your notes, and always ask for help. That's how you turn your frown upside down. Alright, well, get started on your PFA.